Okay, you all heard a lot about innovation and different ideas, examples, and areas. So let me give you a little bit of insight into the innovation mindset. Okay, I'll share with you an experience that I faced. Okay, this is what I read in a description in a hotel. Carefully selected basmati rice from the foothills of Himalayas, cooked to perfection so it naturally breaks down, and added with southern aromatic spices, just enough started with carefully picked, hand-picked curry leaves from southern part of the country, with naturally fermented, unsweetened yogurt, water added, and chilled just to be served to you. Do you know what this is? This is a description of a curd rice in a 5-star hotel. Okay, so innovation to me is an act or a process of creating something new, a product, a model, or a process, a procedure, a method that impacts the market or the society. Right? So innovation, there is opportunity for innovation everywhere. And you heard a lot of pointers that were given to you, innovation versus invention, and let's not confuse with it. A quick analogy for that, invention, if invention is a processor, a chip that Intel had come out with, innovation could be what Steve Jobs did with it in Apple and iPhone and iPad and iPods and whatnot. So therefore, innovation is what? Innovation is something that you do to address a gap. Heard about Airbnb? There was a gap in the way people were experiencing hotel bookings. A disruptive, innovative idea that ended up in Airbnb. Right? Same way you look at an iPhone. So innovation is going beyond just a problem. And that's why I want to insist that innovation mindset is important. As engineers, we all have the analytical mindset. Right? I did a lot of engineering, bachelor's, master's, and eventually my doctorate, all in engineering area. We have the mindset of analyzing things, getting into an analytical mindset, which means you start looking at the problem and you forget the people. So any innovation you take an iPhone, right? You take any innovation, it will always be addressing some need of the human being. It always worries about a human being. Right? Some problem, some gap. So therefore, you put on an innovation hat. You look at what the people need. And innovation doesn't have to be always something that ends up in creating a huge thing. Innovation can be as simple and very easy to use. There is something that was innovated 200 years ago and it still stays the same way, nearly 200 years ago. I don't know if you'll be able to take a guess. This was done by a gentleman named Walter Hunt, 1849. he came up with the idea of safety pin. இன்னை வரைக்கும் the safety pin is the same way he came up with in 1849. That's the power of the solution he brought out to address a gap that people were facing. ரெண்டு விஷயத்தை எப்படி ஒண்ணா, how do I keep them together? So if you have to look at an innovation mindset, let me tell you 2 or 3 things that I will leave with you as something from my experience, having been in this field for some time. One is empathy. Right? You keep hearing you have to get into the shoes of the other. அவனோட நிலைமையில இருந்து பார்த்தாதான் புரியும். And it is so true. Empathy is actually seeing it from the user's point of view. The challenge with a lot of the startups or the entrepreneurs, and I'm sure the speakers who are coming in, my friends after me, will really get into details as why they fail. Because you are in love with your idea, you have forgotten the pain of the customer. That's because you have not empathized with what they want. Right? So empathy is very, very important. Empathy is actually really understanding the pains of others, really understanding by doing what you are doing, how are you impacting others. Right? Let me tell you a story. Some of you might have read this. There is this one kid who used to get angry at everything. He will shout at people at the drop of a hat. எதுக்கெடுத்தாலும் கோவம். He'll keep shouting. Right? And people get hurt. So his father decided, okay, I need to teach him a lesson, a strong lesson, so he remembers forever. So he said, okay son, every time உனக்கு ஒரு தடவையும் கோவம் வரும்போது, take a nail and drive it through this wooden fence. I will not shout at you, I will not do anything. கோவம் வரும்போதெல்லாம் just take a nail, put it on the wooden fence and hammer it in. So this kid said, okay, I'll do it. First day, he had to drive 30 nails in. He got shocked. Pa, 30 தடவை we lost our cool today. I lost my cool today. I was angry at somebody. Okay, then next day it reduced 28, 25, so on. About over a period of a month, month and a half, he had no nails to hammer into the wooden fence. So he came back to his father and said, அப்பா 2 நாளா நான் ஒண்ணுமே பண்ணல, கோவமே படல யாருமே. Father said, great. Okay, now for every day you do not get angry with anyone, you can go and remove a nail from the fence, or every time. So ஒரு தடவை when he was in a situation where he was about to get angry, he controlled his anger, he'll go and pull a nail. So ஒரு naila he was taking it out, and it took him few months. So finally எல்லாம் எடுத்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் he told his dad, அப்பா எல்லா நெயிலும் எடுத்துட்டேன் ஃபென்ஸ்ல, I'm so happy. He said, great, let's go see the wooden fence. And the wooden fence, the holes were still there. And so father said, okay, this is the price you pay for being angry at somebody. The effect or the feeling you have left with someone stays forever. Right? They cannot forget it. So that's where empathy becomes very, very, very important. The next one is having a curious mind. You saw one of the speakers talking about being curious. And that's what Dr. Kalam used to promote as well. Asking a lot of questions. Be curious. எதை பார்த்தாலும் ஒரு curiosity வரணும். Innovation mind will always be curious about things. Childlike curiosity, they say. இந்த சின்ன குழந்தைங்கலாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நெருப்பை பார்த்தாலும் அப்படியே கியூரியஸாக பார்த்துட்டு they'll go and touch. சுடுற வரைக்கும் they will want to touch it because they are curious. ஏன் அந்த மாதிரி அது ஒரு flame ஏன் இப்படி டான்ஸ் ஆடிட்டு இருக்குன்னு. So with the innovation mindset you have to be curious. Curiosity leads to a lot of questions. Asking the right question leads to innovative solution. There was a sports branding company. They were deliberating on strategy. Next market segment namakku enga. So everybody said, okay, in the geography pola, in the age group we can target, let's target this particular sports and all that. One youngster in the group who joined recently got up and said, sir, I have a question. Can I? He said, yes. He said, is yoga a sport? And everybody was stunned. He said, oh, well, we don't know. Wait a minute, okay. Yeah, yoga, yes, it promotes health. It makes people health conscious. It helps people to be calm and quiet and reduce weight as well sometimes. Yes, it can be considered a sport. And that transformed the strategy of the company. They said, wait a minute, there are millions and millions of people practicing yoga. We have a good target segment. So that curiosity, that curious question innovated their strategy. Okay? So my point is, innovation is not about necessarily coming up with a new product all the time. Innovation could be about doing something different. Correct? So the third point I want to leave with you is have perspectives and ideas. So perspective is always seeing the big picture. See a big picture. I'll give you an example. Decades ago, 2-3 decades ago, US they had this mail catalog business. Post catalogs varum. You want to buy jewelry, you want to buy shirt, you want to buy books. Thick catalogs, 30-page, 40-page catalog. Call this number or fill this form, mail it to us. We'll send you the articles or products. Check anpunga engalukku podum, right? And then there was also the World Wide Web at that time, 25-30 years ago. So what Amazon did was just combine these two. They did not come up with anything from scratch. They took the mail order catalog business, they took the internet, put them together and called it Amazon. Now you know the way we do things have changed forever. So please remember, innovation na odane ayyo enakella adu varadappa naala abde panni mudichittu abde poitte velai paathittu poite iruknom. Innovation is some people are born with it, that's it. No. Innovation is not a genius, innovation is a mindset, which is what Steve Jobs had. Correct? And coming to Steve Jobs as an example, the fourth point I want to leave with you is observe things happens around you. Right? Observe things that happens around you. Enna nadakudhu or user or segment ku poringina, just start looking at observing eppadi users la idha pandranga. That leads to innovative thoughts. Okay, which is exactly what Steve Jobs said. What he did was he observed the tourist people in different locations. Tourukku varavanga enna pandranga nu paathite irundar. Okay, they are carrying a digital camera in their neck. And the kalathula pathina thani digital camera. So we have some of our friends here carrying that camera. Thaniya or organizer ella phone number vechikkiradhukku. Yaradhu emergency கூப்பிறதுக்கு ஒரு தனியா the brick Nokia cell phone. அப்புறம் மியூசிக் கேட்டு போகிறதுக்கு தனியாக ஒரு மியூசிக் சிஸ்டம். He said, wait a minute, why can't I combine all four of these together in one that makes it easier for them? Look at them. 4 விஷயத்தை தூக்கி நான் அலைஞ்சிட்டு இருக்கேன். ஐயோ ஒரு தடவை எங்கே இருந்தால் வெளியில் ஹோட்டல் போயிட்டு வந்தீங்கன்னா, ஓகே மை செல்ஃபோன் இஸ் ஹியர், மை ஆர்கனைசர் ஹியர், கேமரா இருக்குது, மியூசிக் சிஸ்டம் இருக்குது, ஓகே கிளம்பலாம். So he combined all of them into his iPhone. And that is innovation. Right? So you keep hearing innovation, creativity interchangeably. We are all born with some amount of creative mind. As Sir Ken Robinson says, சின்ன வயசில் குழந்தைங்களாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ரொம்ப கிரியேட்டிவாக we all, even in our childhood, we have drawn things. Some of us in paper and some of us are even more crazy enough to draw on the wall. அப்படியே கிறுக்கிட்டு இதுதான் அப்பா, கிறுக்கிட்டு இதுதான் அம்மா, this is my sister. So creativity has always been there. According to Ken Robinson, childhood age, you are at the peak of your creativity till about the age of 7, 8, 90% and 95% creativity. Slowly reduces in adolescent age thanks to the educational system across the globe. Upday slow, it will reduce. When you become a full adult, your creativity is about 10 to 15% by choice and by the ecosystem. Right? And that's why I'm very glad we are talking about an innovative ecosystem, the ecosystem for innovations, which is very important. It's not about just the genius. I want to reiterate the point that it is about mindset. The mindset of empathizing with the user. So I met a PhD candidate, and unfortunately I have to reject her candidature for doctorate in another institute. She put up a huge presentation for 1 hour. I'm going to do this specific mobile app for visually impaired users. Great. It was all wonderful. She did a lot of research, several papers. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to address this whole problem. So finally, when everything was okay, as the committee, we were supposed to approve it. My question to her was, how many visually impaired people have you met and interviewed? She said, none. All this I researched in internet, studied papers, sir. So naturally, I said, I'm sorry, I cannot approve this because you haven't even gone out, empathized with the person who's going to use your product. And you are sitting in your cabin trying to come up with a product that you are assuming will be useful to somebody. So empathy is very important. Perspectives and ideas. Being curious, having the curious mind. And finally, observing patterns around your users, that you will be able to solve a lot of problems. Right, you take, okay, since it's getting closer to lunchtime, I'll use an example of, you heard of Sugna chicken, right? What the gentleman addressed years ago was a gap. People want fresh meat and people want reliable one. It wasn't existing. He observed patterns among the buyers that they were running around checking things, coming back home, not buying it because they were not comfortable with what was given to them. That's how we started the chain. Correct? So the fourth one is observing patterns, so you'll be able to address the actual user need. And finally, keep going deeper and deeper. Keep learning more and more. We talked about learning and we talked about which department is more important than the other and all that. But keep learning more and more, deeply and deeply, and that's the one that is going to help you flourish, put on that innovation hat and get into an innovation mindset. Okay? There is a kural, Thottanaithuru Manarkeni Mandarku, Kattanaithuru Marivu. Right? So go deeper, keep learning more while you are at academics. Okay? All the best. Thank you very much.